which account are you on?
Okay, I got it. Hello, everybody.
What's that?
Welcome to the stream. Sorry for the delay. The stream was supposed to be at 11, but I guess my dad didn't really think of it.
I thought you were talking. I thought we were doing a different time zone.
Yeah, I thought you were talking. I guess you didn't realize. What am I saying? I guess you didn't realize. You didn't really think it through when you said when I asked you what time you wanted to do the stream yesterday and said 11. Oh.
Nobody thinks of this stuff.
Oops. Pause that.
So, what's the deal?
So,
What are we doing here today?
So basically, we're doing a bracket for the entire playoffs.
What? I'm out.
So basically, we're going by order of these series, and I think this is correct.
Well, and in there, what's the twist? I haven't looked at any of the matchups yet.
No, he doesn't know any of the matchups. No, I know the match.
I've been too drunk to notice.
That the matchups are so.
I did see one matchup on Twitter today.
What?
It kind of ruined one matchup that I saw.
What?
Tampa versus Toronto. Holy hell, that's going to be a hard one to predict. Tampa's going to win.
Back-to-back championships vs. the perennial chokers. I wonder who's going to win.
I think before we even do any of this playoff prediction stuff, I would have picked Tampa to be a likely contender winner of the cup. But
Yeah,
that's
before-
jumping way ahead.
Yeah.
So why don't you read me the matchups, and I'm going to write them down.
Yes.
And
Basically,
then we can go through them.
we're also gonna do how
Or we can
many.
just do
How
one.
you're also gonna do how many games you think the team's going to win the series.
For sure.
Then.
I think Tampa's going to win
Okay,
3
so
games.
I'll read you up the matchups. Dallas vs Calgary.
Whoa, we were starting in the West?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the West is on the left side, by the way.
Okay. Let's do the West over here.
Dallas vs Calgary.
Do we want to talk about this series, or just write them all out first?
Yeah. Well, let's write them all up.
Okay.
So my
Dallas
dad's
versus
got a
Calgary.
notebook and he's writing down it, so we know what the bracket is, so we don't
Of course.
forget.
Dallas versus Calgary. I see you have it on our screen here. That's nice. Okay. Who's next?
LA vs Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
That's probably going to be maybe.
That's got some upsets in the making there.
Yeah. And then now heading over to the Central, we have Colorado vs Nashville.
Okay. Oh, I've reversed this. Okay, so shoot. Yeah, you got to read me the top ranked team first.
Oh, sorry.
I'll just switch it up.
Yeah. Calgary's also the top team.
It doesn't really matter. It's just nice. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
And
Colorado versus.
then Colorado vs Nashville.
Yeah.
And then you have Minnesota vs St. Louis.
Minnesota,
V St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay. Sounds good. Now we'll head over to.
The Eastern Conference.
The
So
Eastern.
we have the President's Trophy winner, Florida Panthers vs Washington Capitals.
Florida. Oh, they ended up winning the President's, eh?
Yeah, I guess Colorado had a bad ending to the season, and
Yeah.
Florida.
I think they were
Florida's-
resting some guys and had some injuries.
Yeah, they won the President's Trophy last year.
Yeah, I think they
anyways.
realized it doesn't really matter. Oh, I guess it does if you make to the finals against. You want to have home ice advantage, but if you're second overall, that's pretty good. So the next one is. I see
Tampa, Toronto, yeah.
Tampa, Toronto, and Toronto is the upper.
Toronto has home ice advantage.
Yeah. Good for them.
Wow. They'll get to see their team losing
They'll get
game
2 home
7.
games. Oh.
They'll get to see their team losing game 7.
Yeah. If they're lucky.
Yeah.
I think Tampa's
then
going to
you-
win in 3.
Then you have.
I already said that joke, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
Stop repeating your jokes.
Not even drunk.
Yeah.
And then Carolina.
Carolina v Boston.
Okay.
And then you have New York Rangers vs Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay. Where do we want to start?
Okay, let's start.
Let's start with today's hockey game. Winnipeg versus Seattle. What the heck is going on? Why is there an NHL game on the Sunday?
The meaning of that game. The meaning of that game.
I saw that on
No one
Twitter too. I
cares.
thought it was a joke. I thought there was some weird thing happening, and it was like, nope, there's an actual NHL game today. That
Yeah.
means
That's
maybe
why
nothing.
I think they would have probably started it today, but they
Yeah.
had to start since there's technically one more regular season game on.
Yeah.
Remember, they delayed the playoffs because of the stupid Canadian division. How we played Calgary in the last day of the season, and neither of us or Calgary was gonna make it.
Oh right.
Or us, it means Vancouver,
Yeah.
because you like Vancouver here.
Okay, so we're gonna start in the West or the East?
West. We'll start off with Dallas vs Calgary. Now, this series is actually not super bad. Actually, they played each other. I'll just give you a little bit insight. They played each other 2 years ago in the bubble playoff. Dallas won that in 6 games.
Okay.
But of course, this Calgary team is
That's-
way different.
Yeah, that's
though.
pre-Markstrom.
That's pre-Markstrom, Tanev. Now they have like Toffoli.
It's before they took half the Canucks roster.
Yes, that's before they came Calgary Canucks.
Uh,
The Calgary Canucks are playing the Flames.
Jim Benning's now cheering for the Calgary Flames. Okay, so what do you think's gonna happen? What's your prediction?
Okay, yeah. So Calgary. What was I gonna say? So Calgary, of course, had a really good year. This is their first year where they have not been underachieving.
Right? Yeah,
Yes.
they've maybe overachieved a little. I don't know if anybody.
No, they have overachieved. Nobody thought they were gonna sweep the Pacific like that. And of
Yeah.
course, with potentially the biggest surprise of the regular season was Vegas missing it on the playoffs.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
And then you have the Islanders in the East, which is also a big
Yeah,
surprise.
after they had a good couple of years.
Yeah.
But they had a real tough start to their season. They didn't play at home for the first 2 months of the season because their stadium wasn't ready. So they had, I think, started off with
13-game road trip.
13 road games. Start a season is
Yeah.
not a good way to start,
I
especially
know.
if it doesn't go well.
And
It could go
Vegas-
one of 2 ways. It could be fine, or it could be really bad. And I think it went.
And
pretty
it went really bad, and it carried over to.
Okay, so let's get back to the Calgary-Dallas series. What's your prediction?
Okay, so I think Calgary is good, but we haven't really seen this really good team in the playoffs yet, and we don't know if they're a playoff team. Now, I still think Calgary's going to win the series, but I think it's not going to be as one-sided as many people are going to think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Dallas have a really good first line with,
Yeah.
of course, Hintz, Robertson, and Pavelski. But, of course, Calgary have their own really, best first line in the league, maybe. Gaudreau, Lindholm.
That's right. They are
Gaudreau,
considered-
Lindholm, Kachuk. And they have solid defense. Like, Calgary don't have a superstar defenseman, but they have all-around defense, which Dallas, they don't really have a superstar defenseman. Like, of course, you got Heiskanen and
Well, yeah.
Klingberg. They aren't really superstars, though. Maybe Heiskanen will eventually become one, but not right now. And Markstrom's better, but Ottinger is a pretty good goalie, though. Solid numbers this year.
Yeah, advantage to Calgary in goal, and advantage to Calgary in forwards, I think.
Yes,
And
because
defense,
of course
maybe
with the
towards Dallas,
the additions of Yarncroc and
okay, what's
Yarncroc and Toffoli, but
yeah, that's
yes,
a good
but
pickup.
with
Foley's a good addition for playoffs. Yeah,
the newest addition to the Calgary Canucks.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, and
Violet's habitant. Okay, who's winning?
yeah, so I think it's going to be actually not really drumroll because it's a boring pick. Calgary in 6 is mine.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go Calgary in 5. Oh.
So you have Calgary taking one last game to win it. So you're kind of saying Dallas is. You're kind of saying you don't really know about Dallas's roster. You know what? That's fine.
I think
So-
Calgary was just too good. I think Calgary to me is a dark horse in all these playoffs. They're a playoff team. They're built for the playoffs, but they
Yeah,
also did really
Daryl
well in the regular
Sutter.
season. Yeah.
Even though their defense isn't really good, Daryl Sutter makes a huge. So even like the guys like Gaudreau, Lindholm, and Kachuk know
Yeah.
really how to play defense, which is why they have one of the least amounts of goals. Like I
Yeah.
think they have like one of the lowest goals conceded.
Yeah, as long as Markstrom stays healthy, I think they could go as far as the finals even, potentially. Okay, let's move on. We should only spend about maybe
Okay.
5 minutes on each one.
Yes. So next up is potentially, I think this is the most boring series of the playoffs. Maybe I hate to say it. Sorry if you're a fan of LA or Oilers, but it's LA vs Edmonton.
This is the most boring. Okay.
Oh well, I think in
Even
terms
though it
of
has
good
the
teams,
most exciting dynamic player in the entire world.
and Russell, yeah.
And McDavid. Because the most dynamic, exciting player in the league is Zach Cassidy. In the world. Okay.
Okay, so Edmonton, of course, they've been super inconsistent, but they finished well, which is the important part
Yeah.
for the Oilers. And of course, LA kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they were not predicted to necessarily make the playoffs.
Vegas is probably really mad about how well LA is doing because they did not see that coming. Now, they were the only California team to actually sustain their consistency. Like San Jose and Anaheim both had good starts, but they kind of crumbled as the season went on. LA didn't, even when they had a bunch of injuries to their defense, like Gowdy and Buck defenseman.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
Let's. I'm going to give my 2 cents here. I think Edmonton is going to be There's going to be too much at stake for Edmonton to lose. I don't think McDavid is going to let them lose a first round series to a team that they should be beating. I would say it might be different if they were playing at Calgary or Colorado, where those other teams are so good. But they definitely should be beating Los Angeles at this stage of their development, and I think they will. I think LA, has done okay, but their Doughty's gone. Their top defenseman, who would probably play 30 minutes a night in the playoffs, is gone, and I think that'll hurt them a lot.
okay,
So I'm going Edmonton. I'm going to make my pick first. I'm going to go Edmonton in 6. I'll give Los Angeles 2 games.
Okay, yeah, Edmonton, of course, they had the second most pressure out of any team that performed this playoffs. The number one, of course, being the Maple Leafs. Yeah.
Sure.
Because, of course, McDavid and Draisaitl, you need to go far in the playoffs. They've only won one playoff series in their entire career. And so, that sweep to Winnipeg, of course, was devastating. And I think I'm going to agree with you. Edmonton is going to go
How many games?
in 6.
Okay. Good call. We're on the same page so far. Literally, I'm writing both this stuff on the same page.
You need to write it. Okay.
Okay, who's next? Colorado versus Nashville.
Colorado and Nashville. Now, of course, Colorado, second place team. If they didn't rest a lot of their guys, they probably would have won the President's Trophy. But
let's go through forwards.
Forwards, of
Dynamic, crazy, good depth. Lots of forwards that can score. Lots of forwards that dangerous.
And then their defense is good, and their goaltending gets injured sometimes. But when Kemper's healthy, he's a good goalie. But what I was saying in Colorado is that they have one of the some of the biggest pressure on them this year because they're so good,
That's right.
and they haven't made a deep playoff run before.
Yeah.
And now you can't make an excuse that they're inexperienced in the playoffs anymore, since their star players, Landeskog, Rantanen, McKinnon, and Makar, they've all played multiple playoffs.
Yeah, they've got the experience. They should know what it takes. All that heat, jazz.
And
Who are their fourth line guys? Because that's something we haven't talked about much. That should come into play. Is the fourth line, third and fourth lines can be very important in the playoffs when it's like playing the same team every night, because those are the lines that can wear down the other team if they're good enough. Not sure who their depth guys are. Is it Reeves? Is he still? No, Reeves went to. Who's their third and fourth line?
Well, they got Lehkonen from Canadians.
Nichushkin.
Nichushkin, O'Connor.
Yeah.
They traded Yost to get.
That's right.
Get Manson.
Anyway, I feel like Nashville is just, outside of having an amazing goalie and a defenseman that are stars.
And they got a couple of They got a couple of star forwards, which of course Duchesne, Johansson having revival seasons, and Philip Forsberg, of course, playing really well.
I feel like Duchesne's just gonna be more worried about his music career than the playoffs, to be honest. I read this thing recently where that's one of the reasons why he went to Nashville, because he loves country music and he wants to someday maybe have a country music career. I mean, good on him, but hey, man, I think you might want to stick to hockey first. And
boost the career you're actually in right now.
Yeah. Be like going. I'm gonna go play for the Rangers because I really want to work on Wall Street one day.
I mean, I get if you're Joe Forden and you're like above 40 years old, about to retire, but not if you're like Duchesne was like what 30 when he went to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like he still had.
Maybe, yeah.
He still has like five. He still has like 5, 6, 7, 8 years left in his career when he goes to Nashville. So, yeah.
Okay.
But anyways,
okay. Let's hear who you're picking.
Nashville. I mean, they're good. I think I'm gonna go with the same thing I said about Dallas against Calgary. Like they're a good team. Don't underestimate them. They can put up a fight. But I'm going to say it's gonna be same thing in Calgary and Dallas. Colorado in 6.
Colorado in 6. You're going with.
So far, I think there's been no hot takes.
Not really. I'm gonna go with Colorado in 5.
Okay. So
I will only give Nashville one game here. I think. Yeah. I don't think Nashville is going to be able to. Yeah. Everything changes when you get into these playoffs because it's a 7-game series. You're playing the same team night in and night out. I don't think Nashville is going to come close to matching Colorado's firepower, especially with Colorado's defense now rounding to form with not only is it Makar but Byram's healthy again, and even though he's young, I mean he's pretty dynamic.
They got
the
Devon
good Taves and is Gerard healthy? I think so. They've got solid. Yeah. Anywho, okay, so that's that next series.
And now, potentially, I think this is the most exciting series in the Western Conference. Rounding up the Western Conference, we have the Minnesota Wild vs. the St. Louis Blues.
Yes. I mean, this one could be a 7-game series, I would think.
Yes.
I'm going to say this one's going 7. Why don't we just start off with who's winning, and then we go into why. I'm going to say, I'll pick first this time. I'm going to say Minnesota is winning in 7 games.
Good news for you. I've picked the same thing.
Oh my God! Where is the debate going to happen in this thing? Because I guess we're in the East is where we're going to disagree, maybe.
Yeah, because the East is actually the East.
I think Minnesota. This is one key where I think it's going to come into play here. I think the goaltending in Minnesota is going to outperform. Binnington is just too. He's not strong anymore. I don't know if he ever was, but
and now Husso.
Husso's okay, but I mean, you have the options of Fleury or Talbot. Like you can even. It doesn't matter. One guy, both are high quality options.
Like you have an all-star player, you have an all-star goalie, and you have 3-time Stanley Cup winner and defending Vezina.
Yeah, Minnesota doesn't have the name forwards like St. Louis. has Shen and Perron and Tarasenko.
What do you mean they don't have the name?
But not that a lot of people have heard. Kaprizov is pretty new to the league still, but he was going to say is a superstar in the making.
Old forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have Zuccarello and Hartman, of course.
Yeah, they're just not household names, right?
Fiala.
But St. Louis kind of has more names that everybody knows with the guys I just said,
But then also they have guys like Kyrou Thomas. Thomas had a crazy 15-game win streak.
Barbashev and
on defense, Parayko. I don't think he's having a good year. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't paid attention.
Krug was hurt off and on for a while. But he came back at the end of the season, played the last few games, I think 2 or 3 games, and that's a pretty big factor for them. But I think the goaltending is definitely going to be a difference here. But this is going to be good because this is going to be 2. Again, I think both these teams are definitely playoff-style teams for sure. That be a good battle. I'm definitely watching that one if I can. Okay, on to the East. first
Of
round.
course, we'll be streaming some of these games.
We will definitely live stream some of these games. We will pick. Feel free to throw down in the chat which series you're gonna be tuning into and watching the most, and maybe that's the one we pick. It's gonna be tough to live stream maybe East Coast games unless it's on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's the only problem there, because they're on so early in the. For us, it's won't be home from work or school yet when they start often. So we can do an East Coast game or series on the weekends, but if it's during the week, it's gonna have to be probably.
Yeah, I can also
West Coast.
I can always just start off the stream,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can come in like the second period or with the third.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a chat going? Does anybody care about chats in this thing?
No, I'm the only viewer.
You're the only viewer. Oh my god.
Actually, I'm gonna log off here so it doesn't so I don't count as a viewer.
Oh, you don't want to see if anybody writes anything in?
No, I can see through my thing. Anyways, we're getting off topic.
We are getting.
So rounding up the West, we got for Dad, we got.
Okay, we're both bet on the same picks. I'm taking Calgary, you're taking Calgary. I'm taking Edmonton, you're taking Edmonton. And the only difference we have is the amount of games teams are going to win in Colorado, Minnesota. So let's go to the East now. Florida versus Washington.
Now, the defending the President's Trophy winners vs the Capitals,
All right.
2018.
Okay, Florida is clearly the far and away favorite to take this series, and I can't see how they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I
They
think
just got so much scoring depth. Is Ekblad back or is he still in?
Ekblad's still hurt, but there was rumors that he's going to be back for the first round. So, and my guess is that if they really think they need him, they're going to put him back in earlier. And if it looks like they're going to win this series not too hard, then maybe he comes back later in the series or even sits out the whole series. But yeah, they even have depth in goalie with like Knight.
Knight's having a bad year, but
but,
still, he's
yeah.
still good.
He's still a good goalie.
And then you have Bobrovsky is having his bounce back year,
Yeah,
or a career revival or whatever.
yeah. And
Actually, I think that counts as like a career revival season
yeah.
if he's.
And
had it.
Washington is just I don't feel it. I think Backstrom's been in and out of the lineup hurt. He hasn't been playing super well.
Ovechkin.
Some of the younger guys have stepped up a bit, but
Ovechkin's still been good. Has been good, but he's been a bit inconsistent lately after that incredible start that
Yeah.
he had to the season.
yeah. And the goaltending is a little bit iffy with Vanecek and Samsonov. Even though they have two decent goalies, neither one is really like outstanding so far.
No.
Edge to Vanecek maybe a little bit right now, anyway, I think we're both gonna pick Florida here, right?
Florida in 5 for me.
I'll go. I think I might go Florida at 4.
Ooh!
I can see
Get
why.
the rooms out.
Yeah,
Who
I can
thinks
see-
Florida are going to sweep the Capitals.
Yeah, that's okay. So that one's pretty much another agreement. My God, what are we? We must know each other well.
Yeah, telekinesis.
Okay, this is a very interesting matchup next. Who do we got?
I don't think it's that we know each other well. I think that's just we have
What?
good we have good we know our hockey stuff.
That's true.
We know our hockey stuff enough that I made a YouTube channel about it. So we have to know it pretty well.
Right. Okay, so Toronto and Tampa Bay. Very interesting.
I think this is the most exciting series of the whole
This might be. This
thing.
should be
If Toronto
high flying, high scoring.
lose this series, they are going to do something. They need to do something about this team.
Toronto is, though, Tampa Bay, like 5-6 years ago. Tampa Bay could not do anything in the playoffs of any damage, and then all of a sudden they kind of clicked and they had everything going, and then they,
Yeah,
couple of
except
passes.
that 1 year Tampa Bay made the finals though.
Oh, okay. Well,
In 2015.
right before
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah.
But I think before that they had real tough times.
Yes, and of course after the final, like If you don't include the time they made the final, like in 2015, then I guess you could say they're.
I'm gonna say this too. I almost feel bad for Toronto because I actually kind of don't mind the players on their team, even though the whole issue with Toronto and being in the media all the time is a bit much. I feel like they don't have the goaltending.
The thing was, is the
I feel like when they lose in the goaltending, they lose in the defense department, and they're probably decently stacked up offensively. But Tampa, I think, is just gonna. Tampa is Tampa. They probably even haven't gone full speed during the regular season because they just know they're waiting for the playoffs.
They're
and
not.
Now, Kucherov, Point,
Stamkos
Stamkos.
actually just broke the all-time points by a Lightning player.
Hedman on D with Sergachev and the other guy.
Trunak.
and Vasilevsky in goal. I mean, that is going to be... I could see a team taking them out in the second or third round because if they're tired or they get hurt, but in the first round, what an awful matchup for Toronto to land on.
I mean, yeah.
Toronto would have rather played any... I mean, they might have rather played Florida almost.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Florida would be the only.
The only thing that'd be funnier than Tampa Bay playing or Toronto playing Tampa Bay was if Toronto played Boston.
That would have been good. I would have.
That would have been extremely. Imagine Toronto loses on something.
Oh well, yeah. I would have probably picked Toronto over Boston.
For the memes, yeah, I might have.
Okay, so who do you like in the series yourself?
I agree with you again. It's Tampa Bay in 7
Tampa 3
games. Tampa Bay in 7 games. Toronto fans crying in their stadium.
Oh, you think Tampa in 7? Okay.
When they lose Game 7 in their own stadium.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm gonna go with. You know what? I just can't see how Tampa doesn't win this series too. I'll go Tampa in 7 too. Yeah. I mean, I think it's good. I think it'll be close. Okay, Carolina, Boston. I think we're gonna have the same answers for the whole. I almost want to pick Toronto there just so we can have a different take. But.
This is where my hot take comes in.
Is it?
Boston in 7.
Whoa.
Boston defeats Carolina in the first round.
Okay,
Carolina have not had any any real playoff success. They made it to the conference finals that one year, but then they got swept by the Bruins. And then 2020, the bubble year, they got. To be fair with Carolina, they have been playing really tough teams. They got beaten 5 by Boston. They really underperformed in that series. And then in Tampa Bay, even expected them to put up a better fight than they did. I still expected Tampa Bay to win that.
Yeah.
But they did not put up a good enough fight in that series. It was 5 games. And then, of course, the Dougie Hamilton take. But we lost to a team that's $19 million over the cap hit.
That's a good point. So I would just say this though. I mean, Carolina's got to break through at some point, and I feel like this is the year. And I think that Boston is a good matchup for them early on because they'll be the younger, should be speedier and all that. Boston's goaltending this year, how has that been? It's been Ullmark, right? Except when Rask tried to come back.
Ullmark and Swimmer.
Yeah.
They've been good though. They haven't been
in
bad.
Carolina though. Now what's going on there? Was Anderson hurt?
I don't know, but Freddie Anderson I know was really good if he did get hurt. I mean, he had a flying start. I haven't really paid attention recently. But Ranta, I haven't heard anything bad or good about him, so I think
this is the year Carolina, well, not the year, I don't know how deep they'll go, but I think...
This is the year they finally get over their Boston.
I think, yeah, and...
or else there'll be a new meme. Instead of Toronto Boston, it'll be Carolina Boston.
I think Carolina has one of those really underrated depth teams too, right? Maybe not underrated because they did well this year, but...
I think people...
Like, look at their forward group. Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, then Domi, Trocheck, Teravainen, Niederreiter, Stepan, Fast, and then their fourth line is Martinic, Kotkaniemi, and Necas. That's
that's actually
crazy deep lineup.
Yeah. That's on forward. Let's check their deep.
Because there's so many options, right? That
Raymore
could do
that Max Domi addition was really good.
Yeah.
Slavin, D'Angelo. D'Angelo's having a good year. Shea and Pesci, and then Ian Cole and Bear.
Yeah. Nothing crazy.
Their defense isn't crazy. If they still had Dougie Hamilton, I might actually pick them to win the series, maybe.
Yeah.
Because then they have two. Oh.
Yeah, injuries says Anderson is out right now. But that could be you never know what the playoffs are.
Wait,
Teams can say
what was out mean?
it just means they. But who knows? By the time the playoffs start, he might be back. A lot of times teams don't tell you all the injuries until.
So, anyways, Boston and 7 for me. What is your prediction?
I will go Carolina in 6.
Yeah, so that was my opinion. Like, Boston, they have an experienced team. Of course, they still have they're not as good as they used to be, but I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs, but I think they're going to upset Carolina, though.
Okay.
That's just my reasoning on my hot take of Boston defeating Carolina.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's not if you're gonna have an upset, that's probably
the series or Tampa Bay, Toronto, or what?
Well, I don't know if that's to me. Those are two even. Like it's not really much. I would say the other one might be LA over Edmonton. Could be an upset in the making there, just because Edmonton's fragile. Right? If they lose, imagine they lose the first 2 games, they're gonna start panicking.
Yeah, like they did last year.
Yeah. So up next is the New York Rangers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It's the last matchup of the first round. Now, this one, do you want to go first? And should we do the predictions first or do the predictions after our explanation?
Do you?
Okay, so we're going to do the explanation. So, of course, New York Rangers, fate is going to entirely lie on how good Igor Shesterkin's playing. If Shesterkin gets hurt, I think that's it for the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course they got guys like Fox, Panarin. So they're not really a one-man team, like they just rely fully on Shesterkin, but Shesterkin's going to have a lot to do.
I mean,
especially since maybe if Georgiev actually had a good year, I'd say it doesn't rely entirely on Shesterkin, but Georgiev does not have a good year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Chris Kreider, by the way, he had
a great year.
Did he break 50 goals this year?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think so. I could have heard that, right? So there wasn't a lot of 50 goals.
Ooh, but their defense isn't great.
No.
Lindgren, besides Fox, Country Miller, Jacob Trouba, not bad. Braden Schneider's a good young, but Patrick Nemeth and Ryan Lindgren, I'm not quite sure about that. But
yeah, they might not need to be. I'm gonna do my prediction first. I'm going with Pittsburgh. And I'm gonna go.
We haven't described Pittsburgh yet, though. But
oh, okay.
yeah, of course.
I'm going to describe them as the winners of the first round.
Gensel,
I think if Crosby and Malkin are healthy,
Ricard Raquel.
I don't care what else is going on. Those 2 guys can win a series for you.
Their defense is not great either, along with besides Letang.
No, they're probably on paper not quite as good a team as New York Rangers, but I feel like. Again, I think Crosby and Malkin.
Okay, how many games for you are the Penguins?
I'm gonna say they'll get it in 7 games.
And they go with Rangers in 6.
Okay.
Of course, I think this is a pretty even series.
Yeah.
And I think this is Penguins' last, but when really.
But
I get your
reasoning.
reasoning.
Going because Jari was hurt at the end of the season, so I don't know what's going on with Pittsburgh's goaltending for the playoffs.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh gets their. This is kind of funny because Pittsburgh is most likely going to be their last kick at the can, the last time they get a shot at the cup. When for the Rangers, it's their first kick at the can, their first try at the cup.
Yeah. Good point.
So it's kind of like a team just starting out when a team like.
Okay, are we going to do the next round, do you think?
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. We're going to do the next round. We're going to finish this bracket.
Oh, okay. We're going all the way. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the West. Here's who we have.
It's like if you did like the NHL bracket.
They're not reseeding, are they? How are they doing the second round?
I don't think they are reseeding this year. They didn't reseed last year.
So will we see Calgary versus Edmonton if they both win then?
I think so. One second, I'm going to search it up real quick.
We really probably should have researched this before we did the live.
We should have.
Because I thought they were doing something like that.
for NHL.
I think. I don't think they do. I think
Unlike
they-
previous years, the winner of each round will be reseeded. Wait, when is this from though? I wanna. 2022.
NHL playoff format for 2022.
8 teams in each conference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it say anything about reseeding? Or?
I don't know. I don't think they do.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. If they do, whatever.
Right.
If they did reseed, it would be Calgary. It would be Calgary vs Edmonton. It will be Calgary vs Edmonton.
I'm reading something here that says after that, the teams do not get reseeded in the second round. Rather, the winner of the series with the number 2 and 3 teams for division play the winner of the series with the It's I think it's just how we have it. I think there's no reseeding. So Calgary versus Edmonton. Gotta go Calgary here, right?
I gotta think so.
Yeah. How many games?
Uh,
I think that's crazy. If that's the second round matchup, that'd be
Ooh,
super intense.
That'd be a fiery series.
I mean, Edmonton would be fired up for that, so they could pull it off, I would think. Just
Upset.
yeah.
But Calgary, yeah, I think
Again,
in terms of the atmosphere, that would be the best series.
Yeah.
If they do play each other.
okay, so
I'm
you're
gonna go with Calgary if it goes to 7 games, that would be crazy. No, I don't think it's gonna be 6.
gonna go 6.
Yeah, I haven't predicted a sweep yet, but
I'm gonna go Calgary in
And-
5.
I think these playoffs are just so tight that I'm not going to predict a sweep.
Mhm.
Oh, you forgot to write down Tampa.
Oh yeah, Calgary, Colorado, and Minnesota.
Calgary.
Or sorry, what did I say?
Colorado.
and Minnesota. That's a tough one. I could see Minnesota upsetting here. I like Minnesota as a very dark horse, and not very dark. Like I would say they're because I think if they get by Colorado, they can go to the finals.
Their defense
The goaltending.
their defense is depth.
Yeah, who do they got there? They got Brodin, Dumba, Spurgeon.
They got.
Who else? They're missing a couple names there, but
Yeah, okay,
that's pretty good.
Well, let's check their defense. See what they have, and if they're.
And again,
Which I mean, they don't have any superstar defensemen like Colorado do with Makar and Taves, but.
no, they don't.
So what is it?
Brodin and Dumba, Middleton and Spurgeon, Merrill and Kulikov.
Okay, their depth isn't. They got okay defense,
Yeah.
and their forward group can probably match that of Colorado's.
Yeah.
Besides, Greg Creel, Keprashov, of course, would be like.
Oh, Colorado has a
would
huge
be
advantage for
the-
offensive, I think, star
Yeah.
power. But it doesn't mean that. I mean, who scored? Like, I'd be interested to know who scored more goals this season. It's got to be Colorado by a fairly wide margin, right?
I mean, yeah, of course, with Calgary, of course, having an incredible year, but of course, there have been lots of breakout seasons on Minnesota too. Don't forget,
Right.
like Ryan Hartman, like he was below a half a point a game for his entire career, and now he's just below a point. I think he's like just below a point a game this year or something.
Yeah. Colorado scored 312
Only
goals this year.
2 more.
2 more goals than Minnesota. That's tells you something right there.
Yeah. And of course, they let in 21 less than Minnesota did. But
Yeah, but that's I don't know if I buy that stat so much, just because sometimes games are blowouts and they're over before they start, and you don't really care. The goal for though is pretty big.
what are the points difference this year? And
What?
Minnesota are on a heater right now. They had they were only if they had 3 more wins, they'd be tied with points with Colorado.
They ended up 4 points. No, sorry,
6
6 points behind Colorado, which isn't
Yeah.
that much. Right?
Minnesota were on a huge I remember when they played Vancouver.
They finished their last 10 games 8-1-1. So they are probably one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs too. St. Louis 7-2-1. Who are some other
Yeah, Colorado aren't very hot.
Carolina 8-2.
Oh yeah, I didn't know
And then
about.
Florida and Toronto are both pretty hot. 7-3, 7-2. Lightning 7-3. I mean, I don't know if that's hot. I mean, 8 wins is pretty impressive. So I'm gonna go out on a limb. And I'm gonna say Minnesota in 7.
This is crazy. We read each other's mind. I picked the same thing as you.
No way.
Yes. I'm like, well, maybe, yeah. I'm like,
That's funny.
actually, maybe not. I don't know. I'm thinking about this. Like,
Yeah, I know, because it really feels like Colorado should be going to the finals.
you know what? Actually, I'm gonna change my prediction to Colorado probably
Okay.
on 7. I mean, I don't really like Colorado. Yep.
Okay.
So it's gonna be Colorado.
I don't think you're wrong, because you know what? In theory, I should be picking Colorado, but I just
That's probably the smart pick.
yeah, it is.
Actually,
But we'll see.
and also
A lot
Colorado.
of it's just who's healthy, who gets
and
hurt,
also
who gets banged up.
Colorado.
So how many games is Colorado gonna win in?
7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, and also you pick Colorado. If Colorado has like an easier series in Nashville, Minnesota, like both of us have been predicted just barely scraping past St. Louis, which means they might be more tired for the Colorado
True.
series. But Colorado could get up to an early start, and you can see Minnesota coming back in that series. But Colorado just being the better
Yeah.
team in the end.
Okay, so over to the east, you got Florida and Tampa. Who's winning that juggernaut? We kind of already talked about the teams.
The Battle of Florida. So we have the Battle of Alberta on one side and the Battle of Florida
That's
on
right.
the other side. So you had Florida might be well rested, but because we have them beating the Caps easily.
Right. So, are you going with this prediction first, or do you want me to jump in?
I'll go with my prediction first. Florida and 7 for me.
Okay.
The free peaks won't be happening.
Oh, you know what's funny is when we were looking at those line combos, it was they're just giving you the last games. So if there were players that weren't playing because they were resting,
Yeah.
it's the
That's
this
fine.
isn't necessarily the rosters.
It
So I would say in this case I will go with I think I'll take Florida if Ekblad's back. Because I think they were able to win even without Ekblad, but if they put through him, I'm going to go Florida in 7. What did you say?
I said Florida and 7 too.
Boom. Same page.
No more.
Hi, are you on this page? Yes, so am I.
I mean, like, these two teams are similar.
It could be.
Vasilevsky.
Yeah. And again, I think it's just like you were saying too. I think Florida's going to have
Like-
an easier time of getting by Washington, and they're not going to be too.
When Tampa Bay might be a little bit.
Although
tired,
having
but-
said that, Washington plays a heavy game, right?
I know, but if they.
Oshie and Wilson.
I know,
and
but if they have like a week off because they won in either they swept them or either won in 5 games, they would have enough time to recover from Washington's stuff.
True, as long as they get. So if Florida can get through Washington in 4 or 5 games, then yeah, I think they could beat Tampa because Tampa should have a tougher time against Toronto. But I don't think Toronto's as big a hitting team, so.
I
part
know,
of it.
but still,
Yeah.
also
Okay,
playing hockey.
Let's go Florida. Seems like smart pick. Okay, so here's where we have differing opinions. I have
Pittsburgh,
Carolina playing Pittsburgh,
and I have
Boston playing Rangers.
the Rangers playing Boston. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start off. I think Carolina's getting by Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh can stay healthy long enough to go that far.
Yeah, like Malkin and Letang and
I
Crosby.
think
They're all very injury
I'll say
prone.
Carolina will go in 6 games.
Yeah, because they're also old and fragile and stuff like that.
Okay, so who's your pick out of Boston and New York?
For me, actually, is this an upset? I think this is a pretty evenly matched series, so I'm going to go with the Rangers in. I've been doing a lot of 7 games series. I think that's too many 7 game series to do another one here, so I'm going to go with the New York Rangers in 6 games.
Okay.
And my explanation
You know
is
what?
that...
I've got to go back and I'm going to change my. I'm picking Tampa over Florida.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just, you thought about it a little bit more like I did with Colorado and
Yeah, because
Minnesota.
you know what
Because of Colorado and Minnesota, I realized, you know what, Minnesota's a good team, but this is just too crazy of a prediction for me.
You know what? It's also, I've got a thing, and it's probably never really works, or sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes when all else fails, you just look at who do you think has got the better goaltending. Because goaltending is so key in the playoffs, right?
Vasilevsky better than Bobrovsky?
I think so. Just enough.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Tampa in 7. Okay, so then you've got Florida versus the Rangers.
Yes, because I think the Rangers, Jari, he's been a good regular season goaltender, but we saw that playoff collapse from him last year.
I know.
If that comes back, the Penguins are screwed. If Jari...
Wait, why are we talking about Jari?
Oh, shoot.
You have the Rangers
Boston!
Rangers versus Florida.
Boston.
You've already done Boston. You had the
Yeah.
Rangers beating Boston, so now you've got the New York Rangers versus Florida in your bracket.
Okay. So, Rangers vs. Florida, and then on the other side I have Calgary.
Let's stay on the East. Let's stay in the East. We'll finish.
Stay on the East, so you can go first this time.
Okay.
Tampa Bay, Carolina.
Tampa Bay, Carolina. Again, I think I gotta go Tampa Bay. Going to the finals.
Chance to get the free-peat.
I think so. I don't know if they get it, but I'm gonna go with Tampa. Again, I feel like they have too much depth. As long as Vasilevsky's healthy, because if he goes down,
They're almost done.
But he is a pretty healthy goalie, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't get hurt very much.
No, he doesn't.
So I will go Tampa over Carolina in 6 games.
Okay.
I think Carolina's a great team, though. But their goalie has to be outstanding.
Anderson, yeah. And Anderson's an injury-pro goaltending. Same with Ranta, especially if they got past, who did you have them playing? Carolina.
Carolina's really just missing.
You had Carolina beating them in 6, right? Okay, Carolina beating Pittsburgh in 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
You have Florida and the Rangers.
So Florida and the Rangers, I think Rangers are good, but I think that scoring is just gonna break Shesterkin, especially if he stands on his head to beat Boston and Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
If he stands on his head, he's just gonna collapse to that. Shesterkin's good, but he's just had one good year.
Yeah.
And he hasn't.
Yeah, I thought I heard some analytics say that Shesterkin might not be as it might be. It's more the team is good. I mean, his numbers look good, but apparently when you look at some of these, what is it called, the advanced stats?
Advanced stats.
Because they can look at what happens when Georgiev's in net and when Shesterkin's in net, and they can see similarities. So, so you're taking Florida in how many games?
6. I can't see it. I can't see Rangers putting up a good enough fight to bring it to 7.
So in the West, then you go first. You have Calgary versus Colorado.
I do not want Calgary or Colorado to make it to the finals. I don't like either of these teams.
Then you should have come with me and picked Minnesota.
Yeah, that's why I originally picked Minnesota. I was I wanted to be Minnesota, but it's not going to be Minnesota.
Right. Okay, so
I think that Calgary is just really good, but at some point, their team was just a team on a good streak. Before they went on their crazy streak, they were just an okay team. Which, there's only so long they can go with staying good. And if they have another good year next year, maybe it'll be different. Maybe they will be Colorado. But Colorado just proved 2-3 years in a row that they are one of the elite teams of the league. And
so you're going Colorado.
I'm going Colorado, and I'm going to go with 6, not 7, I don't think, this series.
I think Calgary versus Minnesota.
Now, your decision's actually harder than mine.
I think I'm gonna go Calgary just based on this boring.
Daryl Sutter style.
Yeah, boring Daryl Sutter, the stick in the mud. I like to talk like this, and I'm a smart hockey guy. Duh.
What?
I don't know. It's like he tries to make himself sound like, you know, he is a smart hockey guy, but he just, I don't know, rubs me the wrong way sometimes. But he is a good coach for the playoffs. You know, he's been far. He's won cups. And I'm going to pick Calgary over Minnesota in 7 games.
Okay.
And I think Calgary is going to the finals, I guess, based on my bracket here, which is crazy.
And now, so we got Houston, and you need to put / Colorado because I picked Colorado.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's why I wanted you to create the other brackets that we had.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's better to just keep it on one page. I'm not going to don't have to write it out twice.
And then, but you should put up here my winner, and then your winner down there.
Oh, it's okay. Doesn't matter. Nobody sees us. It's just me and you.
Okay. So it's gonna be for you. It's Calgary. For you, it's Calgary from the west. For me, it's Colorado from the west.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it's Tampa Bay from the east. For me, it's Florida from the east.
Calgary versus Tampa, and you have Colorado versus Florida. So,
You go first if you want. Or do you want me to go first?
You go first to start.
Calgary versus Tampa Bay. I've gotta go with Tampa. I think they're doing it again.
Repeat, you hate to say it. It's the most boring pick in this. If you pick him, it's the most boring pick in this thing.
I'll go with 7 games because that's fun to have a Stanley Cup go to a final 7th game.
Yeah. Which I could see that being a 7-game series.
Yeah. I think Tampa did it again with, like, Kucherov stayed out a lot of the season, but he's back. He's on fire. So is Stamkos. I mean, think about it, that one year they won it. They won it without Stamkos.
Yeah.
And now they're back to having everybody. If everybody's healthy again, they're going to be so tough to stop. And they're going to do that thing where, hey guys, let's just win one more, because like they'll have the motivation. Because it's one of those things that'd be major dynasty if they could pull it off. And so that's what their motivation is.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the toughest, is to win the 2nd cup in a row, because the motivation is tough because you're tired and you've already won it. But to get the motivation for the 3rd becomes now like, holy crap, we could be, make some history and be a dynasty team.
Like what? They would be the first.
Talked about for a while.
They would be the first team since the Islanders, and they'd be the first team in almost 40 years to win the three-peat.
Yeah, so that's their motivation. You just need something to motivate you, and that's it, right? Okay, so you're gonna have Colorado versus Florida. Who do you like? It's a good matchup if it happens.
We finally are with my series. We're finally going to get our first really good final, since of course Tampa Bay vs Dallas wasn't great.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great series. Tampa Bay vs Montreal was even worse than that one.
Yeah, come to think of it, Tampa hasn't had the
really tough
toughest finals, eh?
And I don't think Calgary is their toughest opponent. Is not really a super tough opponent, although they do play playoff hockey.
Yeah.
Though, so for Florida vs Colorado, we get a really exciting final. And I think it's going to be Florida in 7. They're just they got more depth on offense than Colorado do. Their defense, I think Colorado gets the advantage on the depth, and they have Makar. I think Makar's better than Ekblad. And Taves is better than Uyghur.
Right.
Of course, Bobrovsky, I think it's really tough to tell who's better between Bobrovsky and Kemper, because they're both on really good teams. Like, if you put either of these both teams of Buffalo, how good would they play? When Kemper, Kemper was in Arizona for a long time, and he had solid numbers.
I think Bobrovsky, though, has been better for longer, right?
Yes.
Like, he's been around longer. He's been known to be a better goalie longer, whereas Kemper's just sort of started to get known. So, yeah. Okay, you've got Florida in 7, and I've got Tampa in 7.
Yes.
So it looks like the Stanley Cup is going to the Sunshine State.
Yeah, it all
based
based on us, the winner, if Florida and Tampa do end up winning
good
their
point.
series,
Yeah.
that would be the winner of the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're going to play each other in the second round, just like Calgary Edmonton.
Hey, Bubba.
That's pretty cool. I mean, so let's go back and see if we're wrong here with the Toronto. If Toronto plays Florida, that's still such a crazy second round matchup.
Yeah.
You have to go through Tampa. Is this for real? I have not followed enough on Twitter. People must be losing their mind on Twitter right now because Toronto has to go through Tampa and Florida just to get to the conference finals.
I know.
But if they do,
They might.
the bottom half of this seeding isn't crazy, right? Pittsburgh, Rangers, Boston, Carolina. That's not really. There's nobody really scary in there.
I mean,
Not really though. Not like Tampa and Florida. Is that for? Do we have this right?
I think we do. Yeah, look at this.
Did you just copy that? But is that the right order?
I mean, I think it is.
Huh.
I mean, they would base it off.
That'd be great if we just did this and it was all wrong.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, we're wrong.
Let me just double check.
Yeah.
'Cause if not, we have to restart this whole thing.
That'd be so funny if we turned out. Oh, there is reseeding.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think it's the reseeding. I just want to make sure we have the first round, like we have that in the right order, right? Where is the
Click.
brackets? No, don't touch.
Okay.
You can't do that. Everybody out there, you know it's not polite to touch other people's phones, right? Yes. NHL bracket 20.
What's MHP bracket?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you go. Sometimes, usually it autocorrects pretty well. My fat fingers on my phone can't do much. My fat fingers are only good for picking my butt and
You.
misspelling NHL.
You. Excuse me? What?
Okay. Bracket challenge. Can I just see the brackets? Why do I have to click through 18 games to just see a bracket?
Please sign in.
I cannot wait for Web 2 to die.
What? For Web 2?
Yeah.
What's Web 2?
Well, Web 2 is the web we have right now. Web 3 is the next one. Decentralized. Most things will likely mean less of this poor user experience, I hope. Okay. Oh, that's where you got the image. Okay, so maybe. Yeah, so here we go. Washington and Florida. Oh, this is just.
Serious,
I just not the bracket though.
Okay. For sake. Oh my god.
Okay, here we go.
This is so annoying. Nope. It's correct.
Is it? Hurricanes,
Yes.
Bruins, Rangers, Penguins. Yeah, that's the same. We're in the same half. And then we have Leafs. Like, yeah. So the Leafs, man. Holy moly! There's no. Oh, for a world of hurt.
Oh,
Like, because there's no way Washington is upsetting Florida, is there?
I mean, maybe, but I just don't see it happening. Like, maybe there's I think there's maybe 10% chance,
Mhm.
but not.
Yeah.
I don't have much faith in Washington. So, anyways, now that we've corrected it and we know we are
We were
we've been
correct,
doing
yeah.
the correct bracket, what is going to be our first live stream of the playoffs, though?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Just kidding. I don't know. What's the who's playing when?
So,
What series do you want to key in the West? Because it's probably going to be a Western team.
I mean, I think
the Minnesota St. Louis,
will
or I like the Canadian. Because the one thing, you know what? That's the Canadian series are kind of cool too, just because it's a Canadian team. I'm at that stage in my life where, unlike you probably despise Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto.
yes.
They're all in the playoffs, and Canucks aren't. But I'm at that age where I'm like, I can appreciate Calgary's a good team. Edmonton's not great, but pressure's on, so it's fun to watch, right? And who doesn't like McDavid? I mean, the guy is unreal. You feel bad for him if he goes out the first round again.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be that way, right? The best player in the world should at least be on a somewhat winning team, right? Going 2-3 rounds. it's just not right if you have the best player in the world and you can't go that far. Oh, but that's sports.
So let's look at it.
So
Oh, Jets won.
Jets.
Oh my God, that means so much.
Yeah.
Kraken Kraken have one more loss,
That's funny. That there
which
was one
means
more.
they're broken their most losses in history.
Yeah. So tomorrow we've got again these early games.
I can't do either of the early games, anyways. So St. Louis, Minnesota.
No, that's what I'm saying. We can't do the early games. It's too hard.
At
It's
6:30.
Yeah, so we can only
Well,
do the 6:30 or 7.
I
I don't think we're gonna do it tomorrow.
Okay, let's skip one tomorrow then.
But so that's what I'm saying. It's gonna have to be a Western.
So should we start off with Calgary or Dallas?
We also have stuff going on. I don't think we're gonna determine this now. I think we just wrap up our playoff predictions and we'll let you know.
Okay.
Subscribe to the channel if you're listening, and you'll find out when we stream our first playoff game because we have to look at. You have swimming, and we have.
I have microfooty and
We have soccer. We have tickets to events and things like that going on, and we have softball and right. So lots of stuff to determine which games we're going to stream, and we're not going to figure it out.
So, anyways,
Right now.
this thing over an hour. I did not think it was.
Thanks for
going to
tuning
take
in.
this
You
long.
we just ruined the playoffs for everybody. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
Have a good night.
See ya.